Hi everyone, so I'm Emily Pittman. I am one of the Maths Progress coaches, and today I'm going to be going through a paper 3 with you. So it's a calculator paper and it's the White Rose Maths one. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, perfect. Okay, so you might have watched this and already done your paper 2, or you might have both of them to go. So we've got Tuesday the 7th of June at 9 AM. That is your paper 2. And we have Monday the 13th of June at 9 AM. That is your paper 3. They are both calculator papers. If there's any reason that you think you can't come, please let us know as soon as possible so we can help you and try and sort something out for you. Okay, so before I start, a top tip for watching: if you like to watch using subtitles or closed captions, please press this button down below on YouTube and it will automatically add the captions for you. So you don't need to listen to my voice, you can just see all of the captions. Perfect. And top tips for using this video to its best. So do the paper before you watch the video. Then you can watch through the paper to see how I go through the questions and see where potentially you might have gone wrong or gone right. I would also say to use a calculator when you can and as much as you can. There's no need to be doing mental maths. It is a calculator paper. And then finally, make a note of anything that you're struggling with so you can then focus on this in your revision, or you can ask one of your maths teachers for help. Okay, so we're going to go through the whole of the paper together. So we'll start with question 1, which is circle a factor of 30. Now you will have to bear with me, I'm not the best with the graphics pen, but I will do my best. So a factor is a number that goes into something. So if we take one of the numbers from the options and times it by something, we will get to 30. Okay, so the one that's standing out to me is 15. So if we have 15 times 2, that will equal 30. If you weren't sure, we could say, well, it's not 60 because that's bigger, so it'll be a multiple, not a factor. Do we times 9 by anything to get to 30? No, we don't. And is it in 12 times table? No, it's not either. So we can move on to the next question. We've got 1 mark already. Okay, circle the largest number. So this is a bit tricky because all the numbers are quite similar to each other. So you can see here they're all around the 5.3 region. So straight away, the one that points out to me as being the smallest is 5.29 because the rest are all 5.3 something. So I'm just going to cross that out. Then I'm left with these 3. So if I focus on these 2 here, so the 5.36 and the 5.34, I'm going to take that one to just the 2 decimal places. So I can see here that the 5.36 is bigger, so I can cross that one out as well. And then I'm down to 5.3 and 5.36. So again, I know that this is bigger. So I'm just doing it by process of elimination if I'm not sure. So I've got another mark. Okay, number 3. What is 850 meters in kilometers? Now we know that 1 kilometer equals 1,000 meters, and we have 850 meters. So to get to kilometers, I'm going to need to divide by 1,000. So to get from 1,000 meters to 1 kilometer, we've divided by 1,000. So what I'm going to do is divide the 850 by 1,000 to get to my kilometers. So I'm going to use my calculator for this. So I'm typing in 850 divided by 1,000, which comes up as a fraction. So I press my S to D button, and then that gives me 0.85 kilometres. Okay, which units would you use to measure the capacity of a spoon? So if I wasn't sure, again, I'd go through the different options and see what I really don't think it is. So think about things that you know. What do we know that's in litres? So if we have like a big bottle of Coke, that's going to be about 1.5 litres, maybe 2.5 litres. So that's nothing like a spoon, so we can cross that one out. Pints, we all know how big a pint is, and it's nothing like a spoon. Gallons, we fill up our car tanks, the fuel tanks, with gallons of fuel. So again, nothing like a spoon. So let's go for millilitres. Okay, work out the value of b squared plus 5b when b is 8. Okay, so I'm going to need to substitute in 8 into b where it says it in this equation. So I'm just going to write it out to start with. So I've got a squared plus 5 times 8 equals. So I'll do the 8 squared first. I'll do it on my calculator. So 8 times 8, or 8 squared, is 64. Add, and then 5 times 8, which is 40, which equals 104. Now you could just type this whole thing into the calculator and it will automatically do BIDMAS for you, or you can work out the 8 squared because of BIDMAS, then work out the 5 times 8 because that comes after indices, multiplication comes after indices, and then add them together because add is after multiplication. So then we've got 104 and another 2 marks. Okay, here is a function machine. So work out the output when the input is 7. So we want to know the output. So I'm simply just going to write it out for now. So 7 add 4 times 6. So where I tripped up doing this is I automatically did BIDMAS. So I was doing 4 times 6 and adding on 7. But in actual fact, with these ones, what you need to do is just do it as it comes with the function machine. So 7 add 4 is 11 times 6 equals 66. Don't put that straight into the calculator because, as I said before, it will do BIDMAS for you. So do the 7 plus 4 first, then times by the 6. Okay. B, work out the output when the input is 2/3. So I'll write it out. So we 2/3 add 4 times 6 equals. So again, I'm going to do 2/3 add 4, which is 4, and 2/3 times 6 equals. So I can put that directly into my calculator using the mixed fraction button. So 4 and 2/3 times 6 equals 28. There we go. Now this one's a little bit different, so you need to make sure you are reading the question correctly. So work out the input when the output is -9. So this one's working backwards. So we're going to have something, add 4 times 6 equals -9. So we'll start with the -9 and we're going to go backwards and we're going to use the inverse operation. So the inverse is the opposite. So the opposite of multiply is divide. So 9 divided by 6 minus 4 equals, sorry, -9. So on my calculator, I'll do -9 divided by 6, which is -3/2 minus 4 equals, and again, I'm going to do that on my calculator, which is -11/2. So I'm just going to see if I can get my camera on. Okay, it's not letting me do it. Okay, write down the mathematical name of this shape. So straight away, I'm just going to count the sides. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So a 6-sided shape is a hexagon. Perfect. Then the next question, Juan thinks this shape is regular. So a regular shape would have all the sides the same and all the interior sides, interior angles would be the same too. So we can see here, this angle is completely different to this angle, completely different to this angle, and the sides are different lengths. So all interior angles are different. And then we've got 1 mark. Okay, next question. In the space below, draw a circle with a diameter of 6 centimetres. Now, I can't show you how to do this on the PowerPoint, but I can tell you how to do it. So you're going to set your compass to 3 centimetres. The reason for this is that the diameter is double the length of the radius. So that will be the radius. Then if you pop your compass point in the middle and you just draw a circle the whole way round. That is the worst example ever, but hopefully you'll get the idea. So then that would be 3 centimetres and you'd have another 3 there. I appreciate that's not to scale, but hopefully you do get the idea. Okay, next question. So Annie draws a bar chart to show some people's favourite types of films. Okay, write the 2 criticisms of the bar chart. So first thing that points out to me is the width of the bars. So the wall width is completely different to the rest of them. So I'm going to write that down. Width of wall bar is different. Okay, and the next thing that points out to me is this scale here. So I've got a 2, a 6 and a 10 all the way up there, which doesn't seem to make sense because it should really be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and you 0 down there. That's what it should really be like. So let's say the number scale is not even. Perfect. And we've got another 2 marks there. Okay, Mr. Fisher is paid £35,000 per year. He's been given a 3% pay increase. Notice that I'm underlining the important words in this. So work out how much Mr. Fisher will be paid per year after the increase. So we want to know how much he's going to be paid after he's had a 3% pay rise. So we've got 2 different ways of doing this. We can either work out 3% of, which also means times 35,000, or we can work out 103% of 35,000. So we'll try it this way first. So 3% of £35,000 is, I'm typing it directly into my calculator, so 35, shift key, and go to the percent button, times 35,000 equals, I've typed in 35% for some reason there, I want 3%, shift, 3% times 35,000. There we go. Thought my answer didn't look right then. Which gives me 1050. I then need to add that to his original pay because he's getting a 3% increase. So 35,000 add to 1,050 equals. Again, this is all going into my calculator. So his total pay is £36,050. Okay, so the 35,000 is 100% of what he already gets, and the 3% is his extra, which is why we could just work out 103% of or times 35,000, which will give us exactly the same amount. So you could either work it out both ways and check your answers right, or you can just do the one that works for you. And don't forget to include your units too. Perfect. And we've got another 2 marks. Okay, simplify the expression 3g squared plus 7g minus 2g plus g squared. That's a bit of a mouthful, that one. So what I like to do with this is either draw circles and squares around the like terms or use a highlighter. So I'm going to do circles and squares today. So that's my g squared, so I'm going to match that with the other g squared. And then I'm going to do squares. Should have done the other way around really, shouldn't I? Round the ones that are just g and they're not squared. Notice that I'm taking in whether it's a minus or a plus as well. So I've got 3g squared plus g squared, and I've got 7g, because I don't need to write the plus, minus 2g equals. So 3g squared plus g squared is 4g squared. 7g minus 2g is 5g. So we've then got 4g squared plus 5g. Okay, question 11. It's a frequency tree. So this frequency tree shows some information about 150 students who study languages in years 10 and 11 at school. So we've got the 150 students here, then it goes off into year 10. So we've got 94 students in year 10, and we've got 56 in year 11. Okay, so one student is selected at random. Find the probability that they are a year 10 student who studies Spanish. So that'll be year 10 and Spanish. Okay, so that will take us to 48. So that will simply just be 48 out of the whole 150. That's all we need to do. We just need to make sure that we're following down the right lines of the probability tree. Okay, the next question. The probability that a year 11 student studies French is 0.25. Complete the frequency tree. Okay, so we've got year 11 and French. That's what we're looking at here. So I know that 0.25 is equivalent to 1/4. So what I'm going to do is 56 divided by 4 on my calculator. So 56 divided by 4 equals 14. So I know that I can put 14 in there. And then to find out for Spanish, I can do 56 minus the 14. 56 minus 14, which equals 42. So both of these numbers will add to the 56. both of these numbers will add to the 94. And then if we take these numbers, it will all add to the 150. Or if we took all of these 4 numbers, they would add to the 150 as well. Okay, next part of that question. Students in years 7, 8 and 9 study French, German or Spanish. Complete the two-way table. Okay, so all of these will add up to here. Again, all of these will add up to here, and so on and so forth. But then it also runs the other way as well. So all of these will add up to this total, and it continues down. So what I'm looking for is easy options that I can go for. So the one that points out to me is 59, add 56, add 35, and that's going to give me my answer here. So I'm going to pop that into the calculator, and it's 150. Sorry about that. Okay, now I'm going to see what I can do next. So I think this one's the best option. So I can do 105, take away 38, take away 35, which gives me 32. Now I'm looking for another easy one. So I'm going to go for here. You'll tend to find that it's the one with just one gap. So there was one gap, there was one gap, and here there's one gap now. So I will add together, I will get 400 and I will take away 105 and take away 180, which on the calculator will give me 115. Okay, so it's starting to fill out now and the table becomes a lot easier to do. So the next part that I'm going to do is the 115, take away the 19, take away the 56, which gives me 40. Again, I'm doing this all on my calculator, so it's super fast. Next easy one to do is find the total for here. So I'm going to add 58 plus 40 plus 32, which gives me 130. And then I've just got 2 boxes left. So I'm going to do 400, take away 130, take away 150, which is 120. And now this one's really easy. So with this one, I can either do 120, take away 38, take away 19, which gives my answer, or 180, take away 58, take away 59. Either way, it will give me 63 on the calculator. So don't try and work that out in your head. Do it all through the calculator, just to double check you've got all of your answers completely right. Okay, next question. So a shape is made from three congruent rectangles. So congruent means identical, so the same. So all of those rectangles are the same. Work out the perimeter of the shape. Okay, so looking at this, I've got 18 centimetres for the length of one and the width of one. But here I've also got the length of one is equal to 2 of the widths. So that means that this must be equal, one part of this equals 2 parts of this. So that would mean to me, if I divide this by 3, so if I do 18 divided by 3, because if we're thinking about the ratio, we'd add them together and divide by 3 to find out what each part was. So 18 divided by 3 is 6. So I therefore know that the little length here, the width, is 6. And to find out the long length, I can do 6 times 2, which is 12. So I can then label the parts, which is 12, 12 or 18, but we knew that. And then again here, I've got 12. So to work out the perimeter, I'm going to do 12 plus 12 plus 18 plus 18, because for perimeter we add all of the sides together. So that then gives me 60, and I'm going to check for the units, which is centimetres. Okay, moving on to the next question. So we've got question 13. So circle the shape that has 3 faces. So faces are like the size that it has. So if we had a Toblerone, for example, it would have 3 faces on the the long length, and it would have 2 on each end, so that would have 5 faces. So let's look at what options we've got. So I know it's not a sphere because that's got 1 face. It's not a triangular prism or a pyramid, so we've got a cylinder. So if you think about a tin of baked beans, we've got the top, the bottom, and we've got the long face around the edge. Sorry, around the outside. Okay, circle the shape that has no edges. So an edge would be like a corner of a table or the edge of the baked beans tin, but we want a shape that's got no edges. So a sphere is going to be your answer. Okay, rearrange C equals 2 pi r to make r the subject. So we want this to be r equals something. So let's write this out. C equals 2 pi r. I'm rubbish at drawing pi for some reason. So I want the r on its own. Yeah, I do want the r on its own. So when we have equations like this, whatever we do to one side, we're going to have to do to the other. So this really means 2 times pi times r. So we need to kind of get rid of this 2 pi. So the way to get rid of that is to do the inverse operation, so to do the opposite. But whatever we do to one side, we need to do to the other. So if we divide by 2 pi, we need to do it to this side as well, 2 pi. There. So that will then give me r on this side, and on this side, c divided by 2 pi. Super simple. Okay. The vertical line diagram shows the number of goals scored per game by a hockey team in a season. Work out the mean number of goals scored by the hockey team. So these are quite easy to go wrong on, because you might just think, well, I'll just add up the number of goals and then divide by the number of matches or something like that. But what we actually need to do is break down each one individually. So we've got 6 matches where there's no goals scored. So we're going to do 6 times 0 equals 0. Then on this one, we've got 1 goal for 10 matches. So 10 matches had 1 goal. So we need to do 10 times 1 equals 10. And then we're going to work our way through for every single one. So we had, on the next one, it was 8 matches with 2 goals, which is 16. And then we have 4 matches with 3 goals, which equals 12. You can do all of this on your calculator as well. And then we've got 3 matches, because it goes with, there would be a 3 here, with 4 goals. So 3 times 4 equals 12. I then need to add all of these numbers together. So I'm going to do that on my calculator, and it will give me 50. That is the number of goals throughout the whole season. Okay. What I then need to do is divide that by the number of the matches. So the number of the matches are the numbers here. So the 6, the 10, the 8, the 4, and the 3. But I need to add them together first. So 6, add 10, add 8, add 4, add 3. And that equals 31. What I need to do then is divide the number of goals by the number of matches. So we've got 50 divided by 31, which equals 1.61. So I've done that on my calculator too. I've definitely not worked that out in my head. So these are best to have a bit of a practice at. I think in the beginning it's quite hard to get your head around it. There's quite a few graph versions table versions that are coming up on the predicted papers. So if you think, oh, I completely don't know what to do with that, just give one of us a shout and we can go through it with you and practice a few, and then you'll soon get the hang of it. Okay, here is a road sign. So circle the order of rotational symmetry of the road sign. Okay, so I've got my sign here. Oh no, it's clicked me through. It's not going to let me do it. I was going to turn it round for you, but it's not letting me do it. So in the rotational symmetry, that is us turning the sign round. So if you picked the piece of paper up and you turned it round, how many times would it look the same? So this has 3 arrows. So that's going to give me a big hint that the rotational symmetry is probably going to be 3, because if I turn it round, every time that arrow's at the bottom, it's going to look exactly the same. Okay, how many lines of symmetry does a road sign have? So a line of symmetry would be if you printed it out and folded the paper in half, would it look the same on both sides? Or if you put a mirror in the middle, would it look the same and you looked into the mirror? Now, because these arrows are all pointing the same way in the same direction, it's going to have no lines of symmetry. If it was just a circle, we could fold that an infinite amount of times. It would have an infinite line of symmetry, but because of the arrows and the pictures on it, it wouldn't have symmetry. Okay. Nija spends 2 hours altogether doing homework. She spends 45 minutes of this doing English homework. What fraction, I'm underlining fraction, so I get my answer in the right format, of the 2 hours does Nija spend doing English homework? So she spent 45 minutes out of the 2 hours doing the English homework. However, these are in different units, so I need to put either the minutes into hours or hours into minutes. I think it's easier to put 2 hours into minutes. So we know there's 60 minutes in an hour, and we've got 2. So 60 times 2 equals 120, and it's 45 minutes out of the 120. I can then put that into the calculator using the fraction button, so 45 over 120, and then press equals, and that simplifies the fraction automatically for me as 3 over, sorry, that's a really bad 8, 3 over 8. And then it says convert your answer to part A as a percentage. So to do that, I keep the fraction on the calculator and I just simply times it by 100 to get the percentage, and then press the STD button, which gives me 37.5%. So I've done the 3/8 times 100 on the calculator. Okay, so here is a recipe for cupcakes, and we've got the recipe here. Write the ratio of butter to flour in its simplest form. Okay, so let's look for butter, which is 100 grams. So I can write down 100, and then we want a ratio, and we're going to flour, so 120. But it wants it in its simplest form. So that is the ratio, but we want it in its simplest form. So the first thing that I would do is I would divide them both by 10, which would give me 10 and 12. Then I would be thinking, what number goes into both 10 and 12? Well, the simplest one to do would be to divide both by 2, which would then give me 5 and 6. And then I can't think of any other number that goes into 5 and 6, so we've got 5 and 6. Okay, Dora wants to make 12 cupcakes. So the recipe is for 8, but we want to work out 12. Work out how much butter she needs. So first of all, we need to find out how much butter she would need for 1 cupcake. So if we do the 100 grams of butter, so 100 divided by 8, that's going to give us how much we'll need for 1 cupcake, and then times that by 12 to find it out for 12. So 100 divided by 8 on the calculator gives me 12. Oh, sorry. 12.5. I can then times that by 12 to give me the answer, which is 150. So first of all, find it out for 1 cupcake by dividing by 8, and then times it by the amount that we want. Okay, work out the highest common factor of 84 and 300. So a highest common factor is a number that goes into both of them, but it needs to be the highest one that they've got in common. So I think what I'm going to start with is writing down my factors of 84. So my easiest ones is 1 and 84. Then I've got 2 and 42. Then I'm just going to use my calculator and I'm going to do 84 divided by 3 to see if it goes into 3, which it does. So that gives me 3 and 28. Then I'm wondering if 4 will go into it. So I'm going to do 84 divided by 4, which is 21. So I can write all of these down. Then I'm going to see if 5 goes into it. Well, no, 5 doesn't go into it because it ends in 4, not a 5 or a 0. So I'm going to try 6. So 84 divided by 6 is 14. So I've got 8 and 14. And then I'm going to divide it by 7. So 84 divided by 7 is 12. I'm going to check 8. 84 divided by 8 isn't a whole number, so it's not that. And I know it's not 9 because both of the digits, 8 and the 4, don't add up to 9. And it's definitely not divided by 10 because it doesn't end in a 0. So I've got all of these numbers here. Then I'm going to see which ones go into 300. So I know that 1 goes into 300, but that's really low. I know that 2 goes into 300, but again, that's really low. 3 will, again, super low. 4 might. I'm going to check on my calculator. It does. It goes into 375 times. Then we've got 21. That might 6, 14, 7, 12. So I'm going to see if 84 does go into 300. It doesn't, it's a decimal. So I'll try with 42 because I'm working backwards from my bigger numbers. So 300 divided by 42. Nope, that's a decimal. 300 divided by 28. Nope, got a decimal. Let's try 21. That's another decimal. I'll try 14. That's another decimal. 300 divided by 12 is 25. So my answer will be, sorry, I keep pressing the wrong button, is 25. Okay. Sorry, it's not, it's 12. I knew I'd mess up somewhere. It's 12. Okay. Next, we're going to go through angles. So which angle is alternate to the angle labelled 115? So we've got 115 here. Which one is alternate? So we've got the options of A, B, C and D. So alternate angles are in like a Z shape. So let me show you. So we've got a Z, awful drawing, Z. So we've got this angle here and we've got this angle here. So the answer would be D. We also have vertically opposite angles. So I'm just going to draw a few for you now. So vertically opposite would be, for example, here and here, because they're opposite each other. We've got co-interior angles. So if I draw this again for you, co-interior would be like here in here. So co-interior angles add to 180. And then vertically opposite angles, I forgot to say, they are exactly the same, so they are matching. You also know that angles on a point add to 360. So if you wanted to know what these angles were, you could add these together, take them away from 360, and then divide your answer by 2 to get these answers. Then we have alternate angles. No, sorry, we've done alternate angles. We've got corresponding angles. So corresponding is like here and here. So them two match and they are exactly the same. If you then wanted to work out this angle, you could do angles on a straight line that add up to 180. So you just do 180 minus this angle, which would then also give you that angle and that angle. You could then use vertically opposite to work out this one, or angles on a point. So once you know a few of them, you can work out the rest. Hopefully that makes sense, but it's worth just looking at a few and just getting your head around it for some extra marks. Okay, the table shows the scores when a biased dice is rolled 200 times. Estimate the probability that the dice lands on a multiple of 3. Now, the mistake that I did when I read this is I didn't read the multiple of 3 because I was reading so fast. I just thought it meant 3, but it's not. It's multiple of 3. And the dice is rolled 200 times. It's going to be out of 200. And then let's see what is a multiple of 3. So we've got 3. 1's not a multiple. 2's not a multiple. 4's not a multiple, and 5's not a multiple, but 6 is, so 6 is in the 3 times table. It is a multiple of 3. So the frequency for 3 is 42, and the frequency for 6 is 52. So all I need to do is add together the 42 and the 52, which equals 94. So it's 94 out of 200. That is the probability the dice will land on a multiple of 3. Okay, a shape is made by joining a square and a triangle. Work out the area of the shape. Okay, so the key word here for me that I've noticed straight away is a square. So that tells me if this is 12 centimetres, this will be 12, this will be 12, and this section here will be 12. So to work out the area of this shape, I can do 12 times 12, which equals 144. Again, you can do that on your calculator. And then I need to work out the area of the triangle. So we're going to do the 12 times whatever the height is and then divide it by 2. So we need to work out the height. So to work out the height, we know that this full length is 26. So if we take away the 12, that's going to give us what's left. So if we do 26 minus 12, which equals, I'll show it on a calculator, 26 minus 12, 14. So although I could do it on my head, I am the type of person that likes to do it on my calculator just to double check. So we've then got 14, because that's the height of here, times the width, which is 12, which equals, again, go with my calculator, 168. Now, because it's a triangle, I now need to divide that by 2. So 168 divided by 2 equals 84. So I've now got the area of the square and the area of the triangle. So I now need to add them together to get the area of the whole shape. So again, I'll do that on the calculator, which is, sorry, I'm losing my mouse, 228, and the units is centimetres squared because it's an area. Okay, so it's 3 marks for that question. Okay, question 23. Whitney buys 12 boxes of apples for £8 each. Okay, so I'm going to start underlining the keywords. There are 30 apples in each box. She sells 90 apples for 35p each, and the remaining apples at £5 for £1. Does she make a profit or a loss? Show working to justify your answer. So first of all, with this, I'm going to see what I can work out and what I know. So you might feel really overwhelmed by this question, but oh my god, I don't know what to do. Just do what you can and get some marks. So 12 boxes of apples for £8 each. So 12 boxes, £8. I'm just going to times them together to start with. Get my calculator. And it's £96. That's what she's spent. Okay. Then there's 30 apples in each box, and we know we've got 12 boxes. So let's now work out how many apples we've got. So we've got 30 in each box. So 12 times 30 is 360 apples that she's bought. Okay. What else can I work out? So she sells 90 apples for 35p each. So let's see how much how much money she's brought in with that. So 90 apples for 35p. So I'm going to do 90 times 35, which gives me 3,150p. But I don't really want to be working with pennies because everything else is in pounds. So I'm going to convert that over. So that would be, sorry, that's a rubbish 31.50 that she's brought in as income from selling those 90 apples. Okay. She sells the remaining apples at 5 for £1. So what I'm going to do next is see how many apples she's got left. So we had 360 apples, I've written that there, and she's sold 90. So 360 take away 90 equals 270 apples left. And she's going to sell them at 5 for £1. So I'm going to divide it by 5. Which gives me £54. That's how much she's made on those. So to work out how much her income is, I'm going to add together the 54 and the 31.50. Which gives me £85.50. Now, when I did this exam myself, I left it at that and I said she's at a loss because she spent 96 and she's only brought in £85.50. But actually what the mark scheme is looking for is for a little bit more justification. So if we then do the 96 minus the £85.50, that means she's lost £10.50. So it is looking for that extra step as well that I missed off. So just make sure you're writing down as much as you can, everything that you know, to get the most marks possible. Okay, let's work on sequences now. So we've got question 24. Here are the first 5 terms of an arithmetic sequence. So first of all, I'm thinking, oh, that's going to give me a little clue. What does arithmetic mean? So arithmetic means they're going up in, they're adding or taking away in whatever the sequence is. So I'm going to see what the difference is between -6 and -2, which is 4. I can work that on the calculator. What's the difference between -2 and 2? It's 4. 2 and 6. Again, it's 4. 6 and 10. It's 4. That's a really not great 4. Okay, so I know what the sequence is now. It's just adding 4. But it wants me to put this in terms of n. So I know it's 4n because it's going up in 4s. And then write the nth term of the sequence. So if this was just 4n, it would be 4, 8, 12, so forth. But it's not. So I need to see the difference between the 4 and the -6. So the difference between them would be 10. It's going backwards, so it's 4n minus 10. So if I had a number scale and I did minus, that would go back 10 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's minus 10. Okay, the first two terms of a geometric sequence are 80 and 20. Work out the third term of the sequence. So geometric is different, and then it's going to be multiplying or dividing to get to where it needs to be in the sequence. So I can straight away know that that's not just minus 60 because it's geometric. So how do I get from 80 to 20 using multiplication or division? I'm going to divide by 4. Work out the third term of this sequence. So that's the first term, that's the second term, and I want the third. So I'm just going to divide by 4 again. So 20 divided by 4 is 5. The answer is 5. Okay, we've got column vectors now. So write 4a plus 2b as a column vector. So I've got a, which is 2 minus 3. So I want 4 lots of that. So 4 times 2 minus 3. So 4 times 2 equals 8. And then we've got 4 times minus 3 equals minus 12. Okay, that's the first part done. Then we need to do the 2b part. So we've got b equals 4 and 2. So 2 times 4, 2. So 2 times 4 equals 8. 2 times 2 equals 4. Then the final part of this is we need to actually add them together. So we've got 8 minus 12, add 8, 4. So we can just add them going across now. So 8 add 8 is 16, minus 12 add 4 equals minus 8. Again, you can do all of that on your calculator. So firstly, we did the a times the 4, then we did the 2 times the b, and then we just added them together, and that's for 2 marks. Okay, pink paint is made by mixing white paint with red paint in the ratio 4:1. Represent this information by drawing a straight line graph on the grid. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to write down, I've got the 4 and I've got the 1. So the amount of white paint in litres to the amount of red paint in litres. So I've got white paint here on the 4 and 1 is the red. So I'm going to go over, I'm going to do white paint and the red paint. So I know that that's going to be 4, 1. So I can mark that straight away. Now, if we go up, if we just made up some more paint, how much more would I have? So let's go with doubling it. So I can then do 8 and 2. And I'm going to go up again. So I'm going to do 12 and 3. Yeah, and then it would also be 0 and 0 because if we had nothing, we have nothing. You can see that this is right because it is going in a straight line. So if you're like, oh, it doesn't quite look right, and then you had a random one up here, you'd know you'd worked that out wrong. So all I then need to do is draw a line, straight line through. Sorry, I've not got a ruler, and then that will give me the marks. Okay, so how much red paint is needed to make 60 litres of pink paint? So my ratio is 4:1, which means that I've got 5 parts. So you can either do this as 60 divided by 5 to find 1 part, which is 12, and all I need is that 1 part, or you can use the bar method. So I'm going to draw out my 4 parts, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So they'll be my white, and then that will be my red. So I've got the 4 and the 1, which shows me I need to divide by 5. So I need to get 60 into this equally. So I'd have 12, 12, 12, 12, and 12. And I want how much red paint is needed to make 60 litres. So it would be 12 litres. Okay, next question. So we've got a graph here. Don't look at this and think, oh, I don't know what to do. You just need to remember a few key things. So here is the graph of y equals 3 plus 2x minus x squared. Okay, write down the coordinates of the turning point of the graph. So even if you couldn't remember this, you could look and you think, well, which point does it turn? Which point does it turn round? So we can see there, it's here. That's the turning point. So we always write our coordinates as x and then y. So if we go along x, so along the corridor, we've got 1. And then up the stairs, so up y, and we have 4. So that is the turning point. I don't need to work anything out. It's just where the line turns. Then the next question, using the graph, write down the roots of 3 plus 2x minus x squared equals 0. So it just wants to know the roots. So the roots are where it crosses the x-axis. So the answer is simply x equals minus 1, because that's minus 1 there, and x equals 3. And that's all it is for that one. So you're just looking where it turns and where the roots are, where it goes through the x-axis. Okay, next question. So x to y equals 5 to 2, the ratio 5 to 2. X plus y equals 175. Work out the value of x minus y. So first of all, I'm going to find out how many parts it is. So it's 7 parts. So 5 add 2 equals 7. Again, you could do that into your bar method, and you could do, I'm not very good at drawing bars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you could do your extra 2. And you know that 175 needs to go into that, and we've got 7 parts. So we do 175 divided by 7, which equals 25 on the calculator. We then want to know the value of x. So x is 5 parts. So I can do 25 times 5, which equals 125. And we can do y times 2. So, sorry, 25 times 2 to find y, which equals 50, which, if we want to check if we're right, we can add them up, which equals 175. So we know that we're right. But then what we want to do is work out the value of x minus y. So x is this one and y is this one. So 125 minus 50 equals 75. and that's the answer. So just remember to either draw your bar out or add both the numbers together to get the amount of parts, and then you times it by the number on each side to get your ratio, and then you'll have both of the numbers, and then you can just do the simple x minus y. Okay, Miss Ahmed is driving along a motorway that has a speed limit of 70 miles per hour. Okay. In 20 minutes, she travels 18 miles. Okay, what I'm thinking now is this is in miles per hour and this is in minutes. Okay, is Miss Ahmed's average speed during this period greater or less than the speed limit? You must show your working. Okay, so in 60 minutes, they're doing 70 miles per hour. And she's doing 20 minutes. And she travels 18 miles. Okay. So if I want to work out how much that would be in miles per hour, so in 60 minutes, I would simply need to times it by 3. So you can say to get to the hour or the 60 minutes, I would times it by 3. So let's do the 18 times 3, which on the calculator is 54 miles per hour. So that is slower than 70 miles per hour. So she's going less than the speed limit. Okay. Okay, question 30. So this is something that you may or may not have covered, or you may remember from doing it at school. If you don't know it, it's fine, don't stress over it. But if it's something that you want to go into more, you can give one of us a shout and we're more than happy to go through it with you. So you might remember from school SOHCAHTOA or something similar to that. So I've written them down. Well, I've not written them. I've stolen a picture and put it down at the bottom for you just to remember the equations that we use for this. So I can tell it's not Pythagoras, because if it was Pythagoras, I would have two sides and I'd be working out another. But here I've got a right-angled triangle and an angle. So I'm thinking it's trig or trigonometry, which is the sin, cos and tan. So to start with, I'm going to talk to you about what the different sides of the triangle are called. So the longest side, which is the one opposite the right angle, is called the hypotenuse. Okay. Then we have the one that's opposite the angle we're looking for. So the opposite, and the other one that's left is the adjacent. So you can see how these letters now match up with what we've got here. So what we need to do is see what we've got and what we're looking for and what it matches with. So we've got the hypotenuse and we want to know x, which is the opposite. So that's O and H. So we're looking at this one. If, for example, we didn't have the opposite, we wanted to know the adjacent, then we would use this one. So you're just simply seeing what you've got, what you're looking for, and which one it matches up with. So we want to work out the value of x. So in the calculator, we pop it in, sin or sine, whatever you want to call it, 35, which is the angle. Sorry, we don't pop that in the calculator. I'm just going to write it out. So that is x over the hypotenuse, which is 10. Okay, so it's your OH, your opposite, and hypotenuse, and you want your x over 10. So what I want to do is get that x on its own. So as we said before with the question about getting the r on its own, we need to get rid of that 10 essentially. So that means x divided by 10. So for that 10 to go, we need to do the inverse operation. So we need to times both sides by 10. And then times this side by 10. So it would cancel out the 10s on this side. So we would have 10 times sine 35 equals x. So I'm going to pop that into my calculator. I'm going to do the sine 35 first, and then I'm going to times it by 10. And that is going to give me 5.73. I mean, it's a really long number, so I'm just going to round it up. So I'm going to go like that, and it's centimetres. Just to double check that it's right, I can see the length that I've got here is 10 centimetres. And if I have that as 5.7, does that kind of look about right? Like if my answer came in at 86 centimetres, I know that's not going to be right. So just have a look and see if it does seem realistic or not. And it does really. It looks almost about half the length. So yeah, if you want any more help with that, please come and ask one of us. We can go through more with you and give you some more examples. But that is the, oh no, it's not. I think I've got one more question. Sorry, got excited then. So the length L of a piece of wood is 294 centimetres when truncated, is that how you say it, to the nearest centimetre. Complete the error interval for the length of the piece of wood. Okay, so they will have cut the piece of wood and then they'll be rounding what they've got to the nearest centimetre. So you could either write this as 293.5 because that would round up to 294 and then 294.5 because it's less than, and then that's less than or equal to. Or you could simply write it as 294 and 295 because it's, oh, I've written that wrong, 295, so we know it's less than that and less than or equal to 294, so it would go to 294. Okay, so that is the end of the exam. Massive thank you and well done if you have bared with me for the whole thing. If you do need any more help, please ask one of us before your exam. We're more than happy to help you. So just to go back through again, there is 2 exam dates depending on when you watch this video. So either Tuesday the 7th of June at 9 AM and Monday the 13th of June at 9 AM. Both calculator papers. Please do as much revision as possible that you can do between now and then. So if you, as I said, if you need any additional support or you want to go through anything, please message me on Teams. My name is Emily Pittman, or ask any member of the maths team or your maths teacher. Just a reminder of the revision sessions that we've got. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4 till 5 PM in L14. Stay for as long or as little as you want. You don't have to stay for the full hour. We've also got online revision on Wednesdays at 6 till 7 PM. Again, if you just want to save half an hour, you can do. I think Sam also records it so you can watch it back on YouTube in your own time. We've also got revision sessions in L14, 1 to 4 PM after every GCSE exam. So we've got the English exam on the 10th of June, as well as after the 7th of June. So we will be in L14 ready to revise with you. Again, you can stay for as little or as long as you want. You don't need to stay for 3 hours. Just stay for however long you want. And then we've got the wake up workshops in the bar at 8:15 AM before each exam. So every morning, if you just want to talk to us, if you just want to sit there, if you want to ask any questions, if you just want to come and say hi and take a cookie, please do. Or if you don't know what room you're in, please just come and ask us. It'd be lovely to see you in the bar beforehand. So thank you so much for watching. and listening. So I'm just going to stop the recording. If you do have any questions, please just message me, and good luck with all of your exams.